Okay, so today's the first day of school, Kiley's first day of kindergarten. Goodbye, have a good day. Kylie, have a kiss. Give me a kiss. Hey, Kiley Hamu, say hi to Eliana. Happy birthday, Ellie.
Happy birthday, Ellie. Is that a goal?
Yep.
My name is Kiley Hamu. I'm from East Talkett, New York, and I'm on the women's soccer team. I started playing soccer in preschool. I was 4 years old. I feel like I've always been a competitor, naturally from a young age. I was athletic and I loved competing.
I scored 1 goal against Mara!
Well, let's go. You better score some more. Beat her.
My life would be drastically different without the sport. Everything that I've done up until now has revolved around the sport. My parents are both physicians. My dad is an ophthalmologist. My mom is an internist. Both of my parents always emphasize how rewarding their occupation is, and that even when they've had a hard day at work or they're stressed out, that they're always glad that they've helped someone and that they've made a difference in people's lives that day. I've dealt with a lot of injury throughout my soccer career. My senior year of high school, I was playing for my high school team, and I went down in the middle of a game. They didn't think it was anything serious, and I was actually contemplating going in the second half, and then decided I'd wait until I saw a doctor. Got the news that I had torn my ACL on my right side and my meniscus, and that was very devastating.
The first time when she tore her ACL, I was in disbelief, and when it actually was what it was, I put on my strong mom suit, but I was devastated for her.
I knew that it wasn't going to be something that stood in my way. I was going to have surgery and I was going to recover, and because my dream was always to play college soccer. And then I recovered throughout my senior year of high school. COVID hit that spring. I was able to take the year at home and continue recovering from that first ACL. And then in fall of 21, I matriculated at Princeton for my freshman fall. I had the typical up and downs as a freshman, and about 7 games in, yeah, there was a lot of emotion in that moment.
Men's action coming here from Sharon Field as this one's knocked all the way up the middle of the field. Tough run there, left behind.
It was like a huge ball lofted in the air. I was tracking back with the girl, and I just kind of took like a large step in front of her to try and box her out, and the second my left foot planted, I felt like a pop. I knew it was gone.
Hamu immediately grabbing that left knee as she goes down.
We were watching at home on TV, and she went down, and I said immediately, I'm packing my bags, I'm heading to Princeton. And my husband's like, what are you talking about? She just fell. And I said, no, she tore the other knee.
I was crying because it was painful, but also because I was frustrated and upset, and I knew, and I didn't want it to be true, but I knew it probably was.
One of Kiley's strongest attributes is perseverance, and she just doesn't back down. And she's a fighter. She's always been a fighter.
When I had this injury and I came here to play soccer, and that was my #1 priority, and that was taken from me so quickly, at that point, I again knew I was going to recover because I wanted to continue playing college soccer. I had barely gotten my foot in the door. Had my surgery as soon as I could with the same doctor.
Crushed round 2, as per usual.
Things felt a little bit different than the first time. The recovery wasn't as smooth on the left side. Reached back out to my doctor, and it turns out I had a cyclops lesion in the back of my knee. He thought that for the goals that I had and the way I wanted to get back on the field, that I should probably have it removed through surgery. I spent the summer recovering and trying to get back for preseason that August. I definitely came back in that preseason a little bit weary and just still shaken up from the whole experience my freshman year. Fall of 22, I was in a game and tweaked my shoulder this time. I felt it kind of shift out of the socket. That was the start of a series of subluxations that would happen to my shoulder. I did some rehab the next few weeks for that, hoping that it would kind of stay intact the rest of the season. I was thankful that my knees were still intact at that point. It came in my junior year. I was marking one of my teammates on a set piece drill, and I just kind of turned the wrong way, and I tweaked my left shoulder, which is the other shoulder than the year prior. Made it until our second to last game against Michigan.
Sammy Woods, and that will be a foul on Woods on the byline. Tiger down in the corner.
I had torn my labrum from all the subluxations.
You just see the emotion on Hamu's face in that moment. I'm sure it's some mix of the physical pain she's feeling and the uncertainty about what the future of this game means for her.
Yeah, it was draining and emotionally taxing. Every time I felt like I kind of got my head above the water, something else came along. After any of those injuries, I had the same response that I was gonna do what it took and get through the recovery, and I was gonna be better for it on the other end.
I've never seen anyone so resilient. Any one of those things on their own could have changed her mentality, could have changed her mindset, could have changed her desire to play the game. What's incredible about Kiley is that none of it dissuaded her. And all it did, made her even more determined to come back. There are no other kids that I've experienced with this breadth of injuries to have the same mentality. So there's no duplicating that.
Any other kid would have said, you know what, enough is enough. I would have given up. I am so proud of her resilience and her strength. It's incredible.
We talk about on our team that the best teammate is a selfless teammate. It's one of the 6 pillars that we emphasize. I started to learn that being on a team is a lot more than being in the starting 11. I learned that through my injuries, being on the sideline, that if I wasn't able to give something to the team on the field, that I needed to give it in another way. And so I kind of channeled that through supporting my teammates who were on the field. And as I gained minutes on the field, there were people that were in my shoes that I was in freshman year and sophomore year. And so I tried to instill that in my teammates, and that their impact, whether they're on the field or not, is so, so important. And that if they weren't giving to the team, it meant they were taking in some way, and it wasn't making the team better.
Checking in for the Tigers, Kiley Hamu is back after a late first half injury. She was clutching her left shoulder.
Has this one near the corner flag. Left foot serve. Finds a head, and it's in! Oh, a beautiful strike!
Look at the service here from Hamu. Puts it right on Mary's head.
Every single day I can step onto the field with a working body, I'm grateful for it, because there were so many days sitting on the sideline. There's a newfound appreciation for just being able to be out there and play with my friends. Now when I step on the field, it's there's so many people along the way to be thankful for and grateful for. My PT staff and my doctors and my parents. And so I think that comes back to me wanting to be able to support and help heal people and get them back to doing what they love, only because I was able to feel that support from physicians that I've had along the way.
Kiley, from kindergarten, in a book, which I have with me, she wrote that she was gonna be a dermatologist, and she was straight ahead, just like everything in her life, focused on doing that. Kiley is the most selfless person you'll ever meet.
At a very young age, she was comfortable in leading and taking charge and helping others. And that was the whole purpose of bringing all 3 of my children and my family members on mission trips.
My dad is an ophthalmologist on Long Island, and one of the anesthesiologists that he works for founded an organization called Blanca's House. It's a nonprofit organization, and kind of set out on medical missions. We went to an abandoned military base in Guayaquil, Ecuador. We set off and we transformed this military base into somewhat of a functioning hospital and OR. It was a really eye-opening experience. I had never been in an OR and seeing my dad cut into people's eyes. It was the most insane experience ever. A few years later, this time we went with my whole family.
At my mother's hometown in a third world country of Dominican Republic. The whole purpose of bringing all 3 of my children is to show them how rewarding it could be to give selflessly of yourself and not expect anything in return.
Being able to see people who really were so, so thankful and whose lives we really changed forever. That was the most immediate rewarding part. I completed those trips, and that really solidified not only that I was interested in the medical field, but about how rewarding it would be. All of those things combined, I think, really led me to the decision that I wanted to go to medical school and become a doctor. There is a newfound love for sports medicine and helping athletes get back to doing what they love. After I graduate from Princeton, I'll matriculate at Sidney Kimmel Medical College at Thomas Jefferson University.
We gave her this really cool opportunity to come here, but in return, she gave us something so much more powerful, which is the understanding of the capacity of the Princeton student athlete, the selflessness, the desire to do what's best for the team always. She exemplifies the Princeton student athlete as well as anyone could.